Good morning, BookTube. Bill Rutenberg here at the Rutenberg Library. I wanted to come this morning and do another bookshelf tour, the Unboxed edition. I've been doing a series of these as I've been up in my classroom. I've been starting to sort through some of my book collection that I've got. I have them boxed up in my classroom because I use them for school. But I wanted to, let you see what I've got in the collection, and it's not necessarily on the shelf, but it's still in my collection. So I wanted to show those off to you, and so let's go ahead and get started. So the first book in this box is The Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire by Edward Gibbon. Okay, obviously a big topic to cover in a single volume, but this is a paperback that I've got. It is from, let's see, and it says it's abridged with an introduction by Frank Seaborn. It's a, let's see, Dell Publishing, and it is 1963. No, this is the sixth printing, 1972. 1972. And several of these I have not read. Most of these I haven't read, but I keep them up in my room for my kids. A lot of times when we're doing History Day projects, they're looking for resources, and so I keep these up there so they can get to them. This next one is a set that goes together, and this is The French Revolution by Thomas Carlyle. It's volumes 1 and 2. Don't have a dust jacket for this, but these were done, let's see here. Oh, this was printed in New York by E.P. Dutton and Company, and it is the year, let's see, 1913. So these are a couple older ones, but that's a 2-volume set. Here is The Russian Revolution. It says, here's the story of the great and terrible events of 1917 and their historical background, magnificently told by the author of Gallipoli, and that author is Alan Moorhead. And so, Russian Revolution, right at the end of World War I, kind of a rough time period. And it's from Harper and Row Publishers out of New York, and this is 1958. 1958. All right, the next one is another 2-volume set. I don't think there's any other volumes in it, but this is A Short History of Germany. As you can see, a lot of these are actually, probably the bulk of these are going to be ex-library copies. So this is by Ernest F. Henderson. Excuse me. And let's see, Volume 1 covers the years 9 AD to 1648, and then Volume 2 covers 1648 to 1914, so right up to the eve of World War I. And these are printed in New York by the Macmillan Company in 1916. These are printed during the war. This next one is The Story of Civilization 10. This is Rousseau and the Revolutions by Will and Ariel Durant. This is a pretty popular series. I know some people have showcased this. I know Todd's Bursting Bookshelf did. I believe I saw it on Mark Richardson's channel, Richardson's Reads. I think he might have had the whole set on his shelf, or one of those two guys did. And anyway, great series. This is, let's see here, from Simon & Schuster out of New York, and it's 1967. And it says, it's a history of civilization in France, England, and Germany from 1756 and in the remainder of Europe from 1715 to 1789. So during that revolutionary time period there, a lot of stuff going on inside of, especially in France. All right, the next one is Great Problems in European Civilization. And this is, I don't have a dust jacket for this. Let me find our publisher and stuff. It's the editors are Kenneth Seton and Henry Winkler. This is Apprentice Hall, printed in Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey, and there's a lot of contributors to this. There's several different authors, so I won't go through and name all of those. And this was printed in 1966. 1966. All right, so those are all the world history. The rest of these are going to be more U.S. history, and they're kind of bouncing all over the place. This one is, and this one's not in great condition, but it is First Ladies by Jane and Bert McConnell. And, I mean, I can show you this, but nothing to brag about. It's from Martha Washington to Mamie Eisenhower. Printed in New York by Thomas Y. Crowell Company. And 1953 is the print date. And I'd pick that up because I don't have a ton of stuff on the First Ladies, and so there for a short period of time I was picking up quite a few books that I was seeing on First Ladies. Next one is, let's see, by Clark Whistler, and it's Indians of the United States. And this is that same point. I was also picking up a lot of books on the West, and because I just don't have a lot in my collection, wanting to build that up. So this is from Anchor Books, right? Yep, Anchor Books, Doubleday and Company out of Garden City, New York, and it is 1966. 1966. So a little bit older, but still good stuff. Next one's The Education of Henry Adams. And so got a nice bright orange cover on that. A little bit sun faded. All right, and this is, it's got an introduction by James Truslow Adams, which I have several of his books in my collection. Of course, this is also by Henry Adams. Well, let's see, this is from Modern Library Books, and I was trying to find a publishing date, and I'm not seeing it. Oh, never mind, right there it is. Copyright 1918, but it looks like this may have been printed in 1946 maybe, although I would think that's an older, or not that old a copy, but anyway. All right, this is Ain't I a Woman? Female Slaves in the Plantation South by Deborah Gray White. And I guess I just didn't realize as I've been going through my collection and doing these bookshelf tours and opening up the boxes, I didn't realize how many books that I've actually got on different slave accounts. I've got a handful of them. I've got a better grasp of that than what I originally thought. So this is from W.W. Norton and Company out of New York in 1987. And I mean, I haven't read all of them, but I've got more than I thought I did. So I'll be able to really, bulk up my reading in that area. Matter of fact, I might even put this one aside to read here soon. Here is The Underground Railroad, Dramatic First-Hand Accounts of Daring Escapes to Freedom by Charles L. Blockson. And this will be kind of a neat one also. Go right with what I'm studying right now because, I've been looking at causes or stuff leading up to the Civil War. And of course, slavery was one of those items. So this would go right with what I've been reading. This is from Berkeley Books out of New York, and it is a 1987 copy. 1987 copy. Yeah. The next one is The Gales of Spring. Thomas Jefferson, the years 1789 to 1801 by Leonard Wibberley. And I think that's kind of a cool cover, in my opinion. Here's that. And this is a book, of course, this is right before his presidency. You know, this is right before he takes over the presidency. This is a Ariel Books, Farrar, Straus, and Giroux out of New York. And it is 1966, it looks like. So, Jefferson book there. And the next one, I have no dust jacket for it, but it's Andersonville. See that? And it is by McKinley Cantor from the World Publishing Company, Cleveland and New York. And it's 1955, and of course, you know, if you know anything about the Civil War, Andersonville was just, you know, just not the place you want to be if you're being sent to, you know, a prison camp. Of course, I don't think you really want to be sent to any of the camps, but definitely, you know, definitely Andersonville ranks up there as one of the worst, or at least it gets more headlines than the other ones. So the next one is A Battlefield Atlas of the Civil War by Craig L. Simmons. It says the cartography is by William J. Clipson. And so being a Civil War buff, I call myself a buff. I don't know how buff I am, but being a Civil War enthusiast, maybe that's the better word for it. This is kind of a neat book to have in the collection. This is the Nautical and Aviation Publishing Company of America out of Baltimore, and it is a 1983 copy. And so, BookTube, that is my bookshelf tour, the Unboxed edition, and I hope you enjoyed this. Tell me what you think of the books, or if there's anything you think I need to add in by any of these authors. And thank you for watching. Have a great day.